Hello, it is Chad Remington back again. It's been a while. I've missed y'all. I've been in rehab, going through some things. I'm sorry I had to take last year off. But we're back. We're ready to tackle this 2025 season. We're starting with a draft, grading, review, whatever you want to call it. We're gonna get right into it. I think the PDDL is getting spicy this year. I think a lot of teams are there's some solid teams at the top, some teams that are becoming development teams, younger teams, and there's no like teams that are as bad as like Kevs was last year. I'd say so. I think really should be a really solid year. Um, we're getting into it. We're gonna go one pick by pick, however you want to say it. Pick by pick, probably the best way to. We're gonna grade them a great, a solid, or a gross. I did pre-do this with the ranking at least really quickly, so hopefully I'll agree with what I did earlier. And then we'll show the quick results at the end maybe, but we're gonna go pick by pick. I don't want to spend too much time on pick, but we're gonna do that anyway. So um, first off, we had Kev 1-1 winning the draft lottery, picking Genty. I mean, it's a good pick. I Genty's pretty sick, kind of borderline great pick, but just because you made the right pick doesn't mean great. Just because we call it a solid pick doesn't mean it's bad either, by the way. So, solid pick. It's the right pick. Genty should thrive. He's nuts. Second pick going to Matt. We're also probably going to give this just a solid pick. I think this is definitely the right pick. Um, Hampton is. I think Hampton's a stud. It's in the run first offense of the Chargers. Jim Harbaugh. What more can you say? No, I just I think this is maybe long term. I think this is a really good pick either way. Solid pick. Not much more to say than that. Third pick. Things get a little spicy here. We got Steve drafting Judkins with the charges against him and I think him not being signed at this time of the draft as well. I mean, we have to give this an rating. Um, I like Judkins. I before all of the charges, and I obviously don't support what he did, but as a running back, I think he is the third best running back in this class. So I do agree with that from that standpoint. Just a risky guy. Um, really good running back though. Crazy good running back. Um, I mean, not a lot of people can pull off that two-way hair. Um, double colored hair, whatever you want to call it. But we got to give this an insane running back, though. I think he's definitely the third best running back in this class. Going to Kyle, quick shout out to Brownlee. I don't really like this trade. I don't know why everyone keeps trading with Kyle. Kyle's, I think, won the last like 12 trades he's done. Um, but so Kyle's starting to create a young team, and if all his players kind of, we're getting ahead of think of Kyle's pick here and his pick here. Um, Kyle's players start, aging well and playing well. Kyle will have a solid team, but I don't know why we just keep gifting him trade after trade. I mean, this trading this and then giving him a second for an extra Brownlee. I mean, come on, what are you thinking? But all right, um, I think this is a solid pick here, Henderson. I have a lot of people that I trust really love this guy. I do like the Pats offense. I think he's a good running back. I just don't think he's that great. I think he just always had like a 6-yard touchdown in the fourth quarter of every Ohio game, and just against like not great competition. I don't really. I think Judkins is by far the better running back in of this duo in college, but a lot of people I trust really like him. He is in a good offense, or a promising offense, I should say. It's not really great right now. But I do think this is the right pick, so we'll call this a good pick. Um, we'll go on. We get to Ryan. We get the Travis Hunter. I mean, this guy might be the best football player in this entire draft. I do have to give this, a rating. I am terrified that Hunter is gonna eventually play defense. Because I think he's a better DB than wide receiver. At the NFL level. I don't think he's gonna stay or play many snaps at wide receiver. So this is definitely a risky pick, but the talent is there. But I respect going for it. I bet Ryan's going to push for an IDP league soon, but with Dynasty, it's just since it's Dynasty, I have to give this a pick. I do like Travis Hunter though a lot. Just risky here, and I think again Kyle. Going back to this pick, I forgot to say Kyle really gifted the Henderson pick here. We didn't really give Kyle any tough choices in this 1-4, 1-6. It's very just hey. These players do well, the players do well. If they don't, they don't. That's who Kyle would have picked, or really mostly anyone would have picked at this point. So at 1-6 we have Kyle here with McMillan. This guy I'm very torn on. I mean this I have to definitely give this like a solid rating pick. His college production's insane. I mean he's 6'5", 212. I couldn't cover him to be honest, but I know he's been having a good camp so far. I do think this guy has like bust. He's either gonna be crazy good or bust, and there's no in between. I think he does have bust written all over him. My nose itches so much with this mustache. I Panthers are getting like somewhat I don't want to call them a promising offense, but they seem to be getting better and better, I guess, with people around Bryce Young. I think this pick will work out and this guy will work out, but yeah, so solid. We're gonna try to move a little faster. Um, Harvey, I like this pick. I'm gonna have to go solid here for sure. Um, I this Denver offense, I was so wrong about Knicks and this Denver offense, and I think Harvey is going to be used pretty well. I mean, yeah, he's battling with Dobbins and Audric Estime and a bunch of I love Tyler Batty, but just the the opportunities there looked pretty darn good in college. Um, this is a solid pick. He should just be a solid player or more honestly. Getting to Brownlee, who did. Oh, this is. Yeah, this is the pick that Brownlee traded. So I do like this pick from Brownlee. I think I gave this a solid one for sure. He has not been impressing in camp at all though, but I do like this guy as a player. I think he was great in college. I watched way too many Iowa games. Um, just a good running back. Lands in Pittsburgh. Um, who's the competition? Jalen Warren and I too love Kenny Gainwell. Um, I I do like Jalen Warren, but I think Caleb Johnson is the future for this. So I do like this pick. So I think at this point, I really do think like these first 8 picks are pretty standard. No one did anything crazy. But I think this is exactly what I expected pre-draft. And yeah, so we get to the 9th pick. This is where you could you could really go any way. I think again the first 8 picks were kind of standard. So Brian with the Loveland pick, I love this pick. This is not because I just love Colson Loveland or anything like that, or because Love's in his name. I love this pick. Chicago offense. We got Ben Johnson. I mean, it's gonna work out. There's no way it doesn't. And I just think it's a great, solid pick here. Um, I think it's also the safest pick at this point compared to some other picks that we'll get into in a few minutes. Um, Golden, I think this is a solid pick. This guy's probably the worst college production of a first round pick ever in history, I'd say. I would guess. But when the other Texas receiver who I go on my mic right now was out, this guy did eat. It's just he wasn't, you know, shouldn't have to wait for someone to get hurt to in college. I'd say to be crazy. There's just so many Green Bay receivers though. I do think that he is. I do think it's gonna work out as much as it's like stacked up to not work out though. Um, in like being an extremely risky pick. So I like the upside of this pick, and that's why I'm gonna just give it a solid. Um, Next pick, we got Tyler with drafting Tyler Warren. I don't think Tyler put too much thought into this pick. He just saw another Tyler and was like, oh yeah, okay. So good, not as good a tight end as Colson Loveland, in my opinion. Should not have won the tight end of the year in college, whatever the heck it's called, but is good. Is a good player. The the Colts are a team that tight ends go to die though. I mean, I think they've drafted like a tight end every single year for the last like 6 years. I mean, Jelani Woods, Drew Ogletree, Mo Ali Khan. I mean, just it's like Sean McKinnon, he went to Michigan. Um, it's a little scary. It's probably the worst landing spot. If he's in Chicago, it's like, oh, damn, all right, like this, I might swap with him and Colson, but I don't know. He's a good player. I think he will be a solid tight end. The Colts are just not a great landing spot, so we're just gonna give this another solid again. We're being really pretty boring in these first few picks with the solids and is, but um, I think we only give one great pick so far with Loveland, and then we're about to get to the next one. Matt's team. I love this pick. I love Emeka Egbuka. He went to Ohio, so we don't like that. But I do think this guy will just be a really, really, really good receiver. I think he's a lot safer than Golden to be a receiver. And I would have drafted Golden here. That's why I'm like tempted to give Dave on that pick. But I do think Egbuka was the pick, and I do honestly think I would have picked Egbuka at 9 or 10 here. But anyway, I have to getting Mbuka at the 12th pick is a great pick, so I love that from Matt. Getting into Dean, we got Jaden Higgins. I think this is a good pick. I'm just gonna. I do think he'll strive. He is obviously gonna be battling with Nico Collins for targets and stuff like that, but the Houston offense and we got Stroud. It just should be a great matchup. Their O-line sucks though. I like Higgins to be a solid receiver, though, and at this point, I do think there's another receiver who I'll get there later, but I think he is the pick here. Evan, I think I gave Evan a solid one here. Trey Harris is a nasty player. I I think Chargers an awful landing spot though. Um, I also might have given Evan an here. No, I think Trey Harris. Okay. I gave you a solid Evan. Um, I'm just terrified of the Chargers. Like Herbert, his wide receiver two with behind McConkey. It's just like how many times they're gonna throw the ball. They throw to tight ends a lot too. It's just how many targets is this guy really gonna get? I do like him as a player though. So like maybe it's more talent over um, whatever the talent over that one saying is. But so that's why I'm giving a solid. I do like Trey Harris as a player though. Um, Getting into Eric. Spoiler alert, Eric made some questionable picks this draft, but this one I do love it. I love Tootin. Um, he is smaller, but the Jags backfield is such a question mark with ETN and Bigsby. They haven't been really getting the job done. Bigsby had a 1 year last year. Maybe he'll be solid this year, but I do think Tootin is going to get a lot of touches this year. It's just crazy athletic, crazy athletic. And they drafted him in, I don't know what round they drafted him, but fairly high, I think. Oh, fourth rounder, not that hard. I take it back. Um, I like this pick though. Very high upside for this. I might have given a love to Eric for this, a great one or whatever I rated it. Getting to Chris, first round, last pick, Cam Ward, solid pick. I like Cam Ward. Think he's a good dude. Um, I think it's solid. Nothing like mind blowing. Do I think Chris need another quarterback? No. Um, could he have picked a skill receiver to help out his team? Yeah, but um, we'll just give it a solid pick. We'll kind of move on. Uh, I do like Ward as like a player and person, so seems like a cool dude. Uh, we're gonna go a little bit faster. I don't know how long it's been so far, but Scattaboo, I think he's solid. He's okay. I loved him in college. I don't think. Oh yeah, already in an MRI. Yikes, that's not good. Um, I just this Giants offense is just it's like terrifying. I do like Jackson Dart. We'll get into that maybe later in this draft, but I don't know. We got Neighbors. I don't. This is just I don't know. The, Tracy had a year last year. Oh, my headset died. So I am gonna give this a solid pick. I do like him as running back. I just don't like the landing spot. Um, back, I think I gave this one or a solid. No, I gave this one a solid. There is the opportunity. I mean, 58th overall pick. The guy is a pretty solid receiver. The opportunity is there in Oakland. Dante Thornton, who we're going to get to with Matt, though, because Matt drafted him. There's going to be so many targets when Brock Bowers is eating up so many targets as the tight end. But I do think that Raiders will get a pretty nasty quarterback next year, something like that, and there'll be this could definitely pick out. So we'll give this a solid for Eric. Luther Burton, I love this pick. Dude's a crazy receiver. Is battling injuries already, and I think that's kind of like the the norm with him is battling injuries. That's kind of was his issue in college, I believe. But I do love this pick in the Chicago offense. Stud. Kyle Williams, this was someone I wanted to get in the second round for Brownlee, so I do love this pick. I think I gave it a love or great pick. Um, guy's a stud. New does battle. Um, does he battle injuries too? I don't remember. So many dudes battle injuries. A bunch of babies, you know. Um, promising offense. We already talked about it. I do think this. I was expecting him to go more in the mid or later, but if you got to get your guy, so not mad about it. Great pick for Mason Taylor. Really good spot in the Jets. I mean, it's pretty much Garrett Wilson catching passes and nobody else. So this guy has the opportunity to just really eat and just a good tight end. Definitely like by far the I well Arroyo third or fourth best tight end by far. So I do think there's kind of a cliff. Arroyo, I will get ahead. I think is a really good pick. Fan is also pretty good though, but um, this tier of tight ends I think is pretty solid. And then I don't know, there's better than I keep thinking, but um, I like this pick. I just think the opportunity is there, and it's just a solid player. And I don't know when he was drafted, but pretty good draft capital. Jaden Blue, I gave this one I think the opportunity is obviously here for this. I don't think this guy's that great of a running back, but there's opportunity, which makes it like a fine pick. The only reason I'm giving this an when it is probably a solid pick is this dude Dylan Sampson is here. And this guy's a stud. I really like Dylan Sampson to skip ahead. So I do think that this pick Dylan Sampson was the right pick. But we'll see who's right at the end of the day, or in a couple years, But I just think this is an pick. Really good opportunity and a pretty solid offense, though. So we'll see if that works out. I think it will more likely work out than not, though. Probably being a little harsh on the Dylan Sampson is next pick with Brad. I love this pick. Um, really good player. Getting behind, being in the same team as Judkins and Jerome Ford, who we love, um, is a bit weird because if this guy went like to Dallas, oh my God, this guy would have been insane. This guy would be feasting if he was in Dallas. Um, Talent's there. Weird position though, like weird landing spot with Cleveland. I love this pick though. The especially with the Judkins nudes coming out before their draft. He'll battle with Ford, but I think over long term, Sampson will be a really good pick. Arroyo, I really like this pick as well. Can't remember if I gave this a grade or a solid pick, but really athletic dude here. Seattle should be a great offense. I don't know if he's gonna like do really well year one, but long term he should be really good. I think this is a really good pick. Jarquez Hunter, I like this pick. I did love what's his old name, Kyron Williams coming out of college, and I always jealous that Chris got him. But I do think his tires are coming off quick. His like metrics are terrible. Even though he like looks all right and produces, but like his metrics are awful. So I do think eventually this Rams running back room is going to be fairly open. I do like Hunter as a player too. I love Blake Corum too. But so like that's the only knock on this. It's like Blake Corum's there as well. Obviously, Kyron Williams is already there. Um, but I do think this guy can fight for playing time eventually, and I do like this pick for sure by Kyle. Fannin, I like this guy. Um, really like this guy. I don't know if I think I just gave this a solid pick. Cleveland offense is passing offense, I should say, is a little scary. So, but I think this is a solid pick for sure. Going into Kev, we got Jackson Dart. I think this guy is pretty good. I don't. We got Russ though, so he's probably not going to play it all this year. Probably good though. Long term, I think this is really good pick. I don't know if I gave. I think another solid. Overall, we're being really boring right now with a bunch of solid picks, but I do think our league has gotten better at drafting, honestly. So I'm happy that it's kind of turned out this way. But a bunch of solid picks by our league this year, and we'll keep going. Giddens, I love this pick. This is a high rating, great pick. Jonathan Taylor always gets hurt. He'll beat out Khalil Herbert. This guy's good. Jonathan's going to get hurt. This guy's going to play. That's how it's going to be. Going to Eric, Javon Baker. Big question mark. Probably the biggest, like, whoa, what the heck just happened here pick, or the first one of the draft. This guy was on Jason's team, who's a really cool, funny guy. I know he believes in him. But it's starting to get pretty crowded in the Pats wide receiver room, and just an interesting second pick. But that's what happens when Jason's dropping really good guys. They get picked in the second. So Jalen Royals, solid pick. Obviously, KC receiver. There's not much more that needs to go into this, or more thought. It's like, hey, Patty Mahomes, KC, Andy Reid, receiver. All right, why not? Well, could I turn to Rashee Rice? Could I turn into Sky Moore? We'll figure that out. But always worth the flyer for a late second. The second ginormous question. I think he got dropped immediately after the draft, which I just love to see. And he's on the pup. So this is a gross pick. I think we gave gross here and gross here by Eric. Love Eric. And if you're watching this, I love you, Eric. But really question mark picks here. Maybe could have went in other directions. Uh, Alik Manor or whatever. I like this pick. I think there are there's like three Tennessee wide receivers. Him, Jimmery Dyke, and Xavier Restrepo. Um, two of them got picked. One didn't. So I think somebody got picked off waivers. Um, whoever did that was a really good pick. But I do like this. I like this guy a lot. I probably do like him the most out of all Tennessee receivers. So, um, just a solid pick by Chris here, especially at the end of the second. We're gonna go real fast on these now. Jalen Milroe. I love this pick by Brian. Um, Michigan beat the shit out of him a couple times. Not a big deal. But they had a really good defense. Just the athleticism of this guy is worth taking a flyer on him. If he can figure out how to get coached up, throw the ball. I mean, yeah, like I love this pick. Terrence Ferguson, I think there is opportunity for this guy for sure. Not the greatest college football player in my mind, but the opportunity is there, so I definitely think it's worth a flyer. I'd say it's a solid pick by Mills. Ollie Gordon, I love this guy. Love this pick. Guy was an absolute stud 2 years ago in college, and then had a not great season, and then everyone wrote him off for dead. Lands in Miami. This guy's a stud. I love this pick. Yeah. Jalen Noel by Brian. I think what I give this one just a solid pick. I mean, again, the opportunity is there in Houston with um, being like the third receiver in the Houston offense. I'm not the biggest fan of this guy. I don't remember when he was drafted. I think he got pretty high draft capital. I think he was still like third or fourth round though. So, okay. I think I just solid pick by him. Okay, I'd say eh. Ryan here, solid. I think I gave solid here. I don't remember. I have one. No, I think I gave this an eh. I'm just not a fan of this guy. I might be proven wrong. But I'm just not a fan of this guy. I gave this an eh. Aaron, Trevor Etienne, I gave this an eh. I don't like this guy. I don't think he's that good, and I think there was a lot of better picks. That I will get into, and really I think this is that maybe they, Ryan and Aaron needed a running back pretty bad, but I think these next two picks are much better picks, and that's why I think I gave these as Isaac Tesla dude, stud, crazy athleticism, does have Goff throwing the ball at least for 1 year until maybe Goff retires, but I like this pick. I not even a homer pick. I just think he's really good. I can't believe he actually fell this late with a bunch of Lions, fans, I guess. But I great pick. I love it by Brad, and then followed by Brian and Pat Bryant. Um, this guy's pretty freaking good. A lot of opportunity in Denver with the behind Cortland Sutton being the wide receiver one. Not even like Cortland Sutton is a good wide receiver one, but I don't know they play the same position. Kind of changed my mind on the fly right here, but I still really like Pat Bryant. I think he'll definitely be out there in like two receiver sets. Big dude can block. Mims really can't block. I like this pick a lot. There's a lot of promise with this guy, so I love this pick. Aaron Flatt, I on Woody Marks. I did not get this pick. I think there was another running back we'll get into who I would have taken over him. But I think everything has worked out for this guy. Mixon's hurt, Chubb's obviously hurt. So this is kind of working out. I watched this guy in like tape. I really didn't like. I didn't think he looked that good at all. But I could be wrong. So I think I gave this an eh. Kyle, Kendre Miller. I went back and forth a lot with this pick. It's kind of a safer pick. Because Kamara's getting old. So we get a backup on the Saints. Their offense is probably gonna suck though. So it's like how valuable is a backup running back on the Saints who's already old. Well, he's not old. He's 23, but he like the organization hates this dude. I still don't get it. I don't think I've ever seen a player get hated more. But I think I gave this one and really I'm biased here. Didn't I knew about this guy a little bit before I talked to Jason about drafting him. Um, I knew a little bit about this guy. I think this guy's a stud. 49ers running back. Not much more to say. You always draft the 49ers running back. It's the simplest rule in all of fantasy football. Um, and I would have definitely picked James above these two, but I hope it pays off for them. But I also Kendra Miller is like Kyle's team is. I mean, he could be trying to win now, so I guess I kind of get it. But um, with the more younger team, I guess I'm kind of surprised he didn't go younger. But I think this is a really good pick by Jason. Definitely a solid pick. Um, Getting into Brad Tyler's show, this dude's looked awful. I think this guy is awful. He is going to be terrible. The only good reason for this pick and why I had to give it an is because he might be a starting quarterback. Because there is no one else on this roster. He might just win it just because he's young and he's 6'5" and he's tall and fairly handsome. So um, not a good quarterback though. So, but there's 32 teams, so drafting a pretty good potentially starting QB in the late third. I'm still gonna give it an but Dean Kyle, I'm not gonna even say this guy's last name. I do think this guy's good. I do think he's gonna get snaps on the Bears. I really hope he doesn't though, because my good old buddy Jason has Roshan. But I do think he's really good, and he is old. He's 23, coming as a rookie, but um, should be pretty solid. I think this is a really good pick, late third. Ty Felton by Jason here. I did have insider information that he was constantly going back between Ty Felton and Torrey Horton, and he decided with Ty Felton. Um, it looks like Ty Felton's really not having a great camp, so I'm gonna have to give this like an eh. Um, Third round draft pick though in the Vikings offense, which is turning into a promising offense. By whatever the fuck the head coach name is, forget his name right now, but always runs a great offense. Um, but it's not. It's turned in. This is an ant pick for sure, especially post draft. Followed by Jason trading up for this pick as well, or trading a player for this pick. This pick's gross. I don't know why he traded a starting running back on a team for a fourth string quarterback who really wasn't even that great in college. Just kind of taking a flyer. He needs some QB help, but pretty gross. Again, I think he's going to really regret not taking Torrey Horton in this pick as well. But Tajay Brooks, there's room for, as this thing right here says, path to touches, and that's really the key in this. As a late round third, I mean, he's gonna be like probably the backup running back. Yeah, I mean, Samaje Perine's getting real old. I don't know how old he is, but since the offense, backup running back, pretty good for the latest third round. So, I think this is another solid pick by Chris for sure. I gave one. I don't know what my rankings are. Gunnar Helm, I don't know this guy. Tennessee, fourth round. There's a lot of the tight end room is wide open. Not a big fan of Chig at all, so I don't hate this pick. I'm not in love with it though either, so I think I gave it a solid or probably an yeah, I gave it a But getting into Matt, had no idea who this guy was before the draft. This, after more research and after looking at how camp is going, I mean, I do love this pick. So credit to Mills. This guy's an absolute athletic freak. I do again think there will still be limited targets in the Vegas offense, but could be wrong. Always not the best at guessing that kind of stuff. But between Bowers and obviously you have Gentry running the ball, but I fourth round pick. This guy might be on the wide receiver 2 on this team with Beck, who's drafted second round. He might beat him out for wide receiver for 2 wide receiver sets. So love this pick. Steve's Will Howard, hate this dude. This guy sucks as a quarterback. Pittsburgh, Aaron Rodgers might get hurt, but this guy sucks. So this is definitely a gross pick. Not just because he went to Ohio, it's just because he's a terrible quarterback. Brashard Smith, like this pick. Just again, kind of like a hey, KC running back. Pacheco's hurt. Kareem Hunt feasted at the end of last year. I think this guy's having a solid camp too. So I think this is a good pick for fourth round. I definitely think I gave it a solid. Jacob Cowing, I think I gave this an eh. I understand the mindset though of drafting because there's a ton of injuries in the San Francisco wide receiver room, and this guy did have pretty good draft capital, I think. But I gave this one an eh, mostly because also I really liked Matt's pick. Spoiler alert. Dean, I love this pick. Was trying to get this pick. Well, I wasn't trying to. I was really hoping Kyle wouldn't trade it, and then I could get the next pick. So you're a scumbag for trading Kyle when he was never going to make that pick. But thanks for, not letting him hold everyone hostage. But I do love this pick. This was the right pick for sure. You could argue it was even a pick, up here. So really good value. This guy's good. He was always hurt though in college, and that's kind of why he fell even in the NFL draft. Very promising dude. Really good pick by Dean. I love this pick. Henry Ruggs by Brad. I gotta give this but I do love the mindset. Or I might have given it a gross. I think I gave it. No, this one might have been the gross. This one might have been the or the other way around. No, this is the this is the gross. Just because he's in jail. But I love the idea, honestly. Brian with JCM. That's all the cool kids are calling him. Love this pick. Really good dude. We do have Brian Robinson there, but I think this guy honestly can beat out, like, has the potential to beat out Brian Robinson this year and next year. I mean, Washington, we got promising offense. I love this pick by Brian. Dylan Gabriel, solid pick. He's the QB3 on this team. Drafted way better with better capital than Sanders. The right pick. Like it. Quinn Ewers, this one's gross. I hate Quinn Ewers. I think he was an awful college quarterback. I heard he is having a solid camp though, but I hate this pick. But I understand, it's behind Tua, and Tua, we know how Tua is, so I can't completely hate it, but I don't like the guy. Restor Pro, I did want to hopefully pick this guy off waivers, but he was picked, so I got it. I like this pick by Tyler. Solid pick here. Got the Cam Ward Restor Pro connection from college. Savion Williams, I think this dude was drafted in the third, but drafted in the same class as Golden. There's so many damn QBs, or Green Bay wide receivers. So I do think this is a solid pick, especially late fourth round. Look at that, is some sick hair. But I think it's solid. I don't. There's just so many receivers. Like, will this dude ever play? What are they? They're crazy in Green Bay. Jalen Lane. I think this, especially past the halfway point. Because I think I like Thornton and Horton. Thornton and Horton. Man. More, but this is definitely the best pick of the back of the fourth round. Really, Jason really won this guy off to try to trade up and get this guy, or was hoping he'd fall into waivers. This guy's really good. Great pick, Dean. You suck. Nick Nash. I had no idea who this guy is. Likely to compete for spots on Falcon practice squad. That's not a good start. I think he was undrafted for sure too. Um, Atlanta does have an open receiver room though for that wide receiver too though. So um, I kind of get the idea, but I think I might have gave Evan an A on this, maybe even just an A, just an A. Kelvin Austin, I don't like this pick either. Eric, um, you started off really well, Eric, and then I don't know what you went a little wild. So I definitely went gross on this. Um, he's the wide receiver too. Maybe this isn't as bad as I guess. I don't know. Jesus, this Pittsburgh wide receiver room is god awful. All right, maybe not that bad. I did rate this gross though. I'm gonna change it to an eh on the fly right now. And just because I love Eric. And then Chris, I like this pick. Might have gave him a love on this pick, especially last the fourth round, last pick of the draft. Um, this guy's gonna, I think he's gonna see some footballs this year as the Chargers tight end. Actually, not sorry, not this year, but next year I think this guy's gonna be. It's gonna be an okay tight end. And I think it's really good for a fourth last pick. So it always takes longer than we want it to. But that what was that? Um, that is why we make the videos. So they're always long. This was the ranking I gave. So we'll do this in a minute or two. I'm not gonna go one by one, but if you care, you can look. I think again, like I was kind of saying, I think you can see most of the drafts picks. Let's do this little sum here. So 16, 30, 14, 4. So again, most were solid or even good. So I think overall like our league drafted pretty well, or like again agreeing with me, and I am just an expert in analysis, so it's not a big deal to agree with me, but you generally do want to agree with me being an expert. But 16 picks that I really thought were great. We're gonna call them loves. Loved 30 solids. We got 14 is, which we maybe were a little harsh on, and then 4 grosses. Um, so I think the big winners in this draft, just looking at the loves, I think Matt had a really good draft. Steve had a really good draft with 2 loves, 2 solids. Went a little off the rails, I think, towards the end maybe. Um, Brad, 2 loves though, so you got to give solid. I don't know what the grossing is. Where Brian, probably the best draft out of everybody. I would say I gave 3 loves, 3 solids. Pretty great with 6 picks. Dean, 3-1. I think Dean obviously had a really great draft. And Chris, I think, had a pretty solid draft, just being, fourth round, or it's not fourth round, last pick in each round. Um, Kind of picking up some gold here and there. And yeah, Kyle had a pretty solid draft. So did Ryan. Browns overlooked Browns. Pretty solid draft by Browns. So yeah, I think most people had really solid drafts. Even Aaron, Dave. Tyler 2 solids. I think everyone had a pretty good draft. Probably the 4th time I said that, right? So um, that's the grades. Not really in letters, but love, solid, and gross. But it's everything. Hopefully that was under an hour. I don't know. Love y'all. Have a great one. Good luck this year. Hopefully do some power rankings this week as well.